What is up, bros? It's Josh here, and welcome to our mini-series for captain builds in World of Warships. As you all know, in 8.0, the captain skills were changed due to the CV rework, and that did affect normal captain builds throughout the entirety of the game. In 8.0, you were able to get free captain respecs, so I thought I'd make a quick little video over each nation and each class when it has to do with captain builds. Hope this video helps you out and gives you an idea of what to build your captain around now that you have the free captain respecs. Throughout all of these videos, I will not be including the legendary modules because so few people actually have them. These are going to be basic builds that will work for most players. Obviously, some of the legendary modules will change up the playstyle a little bit, but these are just basic builds for the majority of players that they can build off and then tweak them a tad over time towards their playstyle. So I will mention some of the legendary modules, however, I will not make builds around the actual legendary modules. In this video, we'll be going over captain builds for all of the US Navy and all the lines within their tech tree. Now, first we will start with the battleships, then go to heavy cruisers, then go to light cruisers, as well as destroyers, and then finally CVs. All of these should give you a good basic idea of what to roll for each one of these lines for a basic, good captain build. Moving on to the USN tech tree, and now we start out with the USN battleships. Again, we will be using Halsey for this. Again, you can use Halsey for any of the captain builds. This is fantastic because Halsey is a badass captain, one of the two main premium captains. Again, what you have to do is go into campaigns and finish up the Halsey campaign, which is strike, hit hard, hit fast, hit often, and at the end of the campaign, you get the man himself. Again, just like Yamamoto, 15-point captain. The reason why he's so fantastic is because he offers extra skills just like Yamamoto does, and again, other ones. There are some other ones you can pick up in the armory. These are also fantastic to grab if you don't have them. You can go and pick up the commanders here, both John Doe and George Doe, one for doubloons, one for coal. And these will give you expert loader, a buffed expert loader, and a buffed expert marksmanship. These are fantastic. So one for coal, one for doubloons. If you don't have them, these will definitely be worth their money, especially on battleships and cruisers. Outside of that, they don't quite get the value on the other ships. But Halsey himself has some premium talents on top of buffed expert loader, buffed expert marksmanship. He has hit fast, which is if you get a double strike, minus 10% of your detectability range, both by air and by sea. Hit hard, this is if you get Confederate, which isn't the hardest thing to get. You get a reload boost. So just like Yamamoto, he has unique things as well as the actual fireworks and all that kind of stuff. But this is my build that I would run. Again, we have 3 points that are unused, and that's going to be up to your play style. Again, starting out, these are going to go a lot faster as we go through lines because we kind of have already seen some builds. But preventive maintenance, you do not want to get your guns knocked out. Expert marksmanship is fantastic. Again, with the buffed ones, getting those turrets moving faster and on target is awesome. Basic survivability, I think, very underrated. Knocking out those fires and getting them extinguished faster, recovering on flooding faster. There's a lot more floods that are happening because there's 2 sections for it now. So being on fire less, flooding less, that's a bonus for me. Concealment expert, still like it for the Montana. I know a lot of people are giving this up. I personally still like this, and you can pick that up. Definitely would. Montana that has it, Montana that doesn't have it, Montana that doesn't have it could set up for a shot. Again, I know probably I'll get some stuff down below in the comments saying, well, I'm always shooting my guns, therefore I'm always detected, so concealment expert is worthless to me. Yeah, okay, sure, but there are also situations where you need to go dark, and if you don't have it and somebody does have it, you can't go dark, and then you die. So I still see a lot of value in concealment expert for some battleships, not all, but I would definitely still pick it up. Fire prevention is fantastic. The reason why fire prevention for me stock has risen a lot is because AFT's stock has fallen. The main reason being is it doesn't affect AA range anymore, although it does affect the burst damage on the poofs of smoke. It's not the AA range anymore. You don't really care about secondaries on the Montana. The USN secondaries aren't anything to write home about. They are good within short range, but you're hopefully not going to get within that range. You don't need it. So fire prevention is the way to go. Knocking out, again, that middle section. So it's just, instead of the 2 in the middle, it's just one large one, still only dealing the damage of 1. Going back and picking up Adrenaline Rush is fantastic and definitely worth picking up. Now, the other one, last 3 points, is going to be completely up to you. Superintendent, the same thing as the Yamato, you're only getting 1 heal. You actually can't use an extra plane. There's not enough time. So is it worth picking up 1 extra heal? I just don't see that. Something you could easily pick up these days is BFT. I don't think this is the worst thing in the world. Lots of planes in the sky. So BFT is probably what I would pick. Vigilance, I just don't see it for really any battleships anymore. I just don't really see the impact in it being worth 3 points. If Vigilance was 2 points, maybe we'd talk about it, but not so much. Now, we see Halsey has Expert Loader. Now, Mijash, is it worth it? Not really. It's okay. It's kind of nice to have if you have it, but to me, Expert Loader, you're going to be shooting AP most of the time. You're not really going to be switching to HE that much in most situations. So either I would pick up BFT here. That's just what I would do. Grab Expert, Survivability Expert, JK. Please, if you're a battleship, please do not pick up Survivability Expert. It is not worth it. Stop picking Survivability Expert. It's not worth it. But I would pick up BFT, or I would go with a tad more of a survivability build and pick up High Alert. This is a very kind of tanky build. You're going to be on fire a lot less. Again, High Alert giving you a faster repair cooldown, so dropping that so you can repair even faster. And then either picking up Expert Loader, since you have the buff on Halsey, you definitely can, or even Priority Target is nice to let you know if you can turn in or out. Again, I just don't see Superintendent being worth it anymore. Manual Fire is okay, maybe if you're going for a full AA build, but a balanced build, I just don't see it being worth it anymore. Most of the time, you're going to leave your AA sectors on both sides pretty balanced. So switching back and forth just takes so long. I don't really see the value in a lot of these outside of a lot of full AA builds. But then you'll be giving up other stuff. This is a pretty basic build. I think I would personally pick up BFT. Again, you could pick up High Alert and go either Expert Loader. 75% is pretty nice, and it's kind of cruiser level reload if you have it reloaded on a battleship. This is what I would run for the actual build. I'll just pick up BFT right now, so I'm good to go. Then that's what I would run for USN battleships. Now we move to USN cruisers. USN line split between heavies and light cruisers, and just like the IGN DDs, they are going to have a different captain setup. But for the heavy cruisers, this is what I would run. We're going to pick up Priority Target. This is standard, I think, on every cruiser. You want to know how many targets are focusing you, and if you're going to get obliterated. Also, you can get information on destroyers, which you are a radar ship, so that's awesome to have. Adrenaline Rush, I do like to pick up. This is fantastic. Picking up Adrenaline Rush is just awesome on anything that you can. Definitely worth it for the 2 points, in my opinion. Yes, I see you over there, extra marksmanship. Superintendent, you want the extra radar. I think it's worth it for the extra radar and heal by themselves. Getting extra A is just a cherry on top. Superintendent is fantastic for anything with radar. And then Concealment Expert, kind of just a need to get. Now, there is the Legendary module, which kind of you can maybe drop, but I still think Concealment Expert is just overall amazing. Going back though, picking up BFT and then extra marksmanship are fantastic. Again, if you have one of the buffed captains or one of the premium captains like Halsey or any of the Doe brothers, you are going to get faster moving turrets on top of this, so it's definitely a good pickup. But BFT is awesome because you still are a high AA ship. But now I have 4 points left over. What would I use them for? Well, you could go a tad more defensive and pick up either manual AA or AFT. I think manual A might be a tad better. It does speed up the reload as well as boost it by 20%. I think I would maybe pick up manual AA since AFT does not help with range anymore. So avoiding flak is kind of, I guess, would be fairly easy these days, although there is a lot of it. But so manual A would just make the constant AA even better. So I would maybe pick up AFT with those last 4 points, or if you just want to go with just standard setup and just to be more focused on damage, what you could do is actually grab Demolition Expert. 2% for that. Well, the Des Moines shoots super fast. So Demo Expert is fantastic for getting a little bit more damage out. So if you want to do that, you could grab that, as well as either preventive maintenance to avoid knocking out those front turrets, because if you are shooting at a Des Moines and you know what you're doing, you're going to try to knock out those turrets anyway. So avoiding that happening as much as possible is nice, as well as picking up Expert Loader if you really want. Again, with those buff captains, this is even better, but any kind of change in that is going to be up to your playstyle. Tad more defensive here, tad more offensive here. So it's going to be up to you on what you like to do. For me, I think I'm gonna go with the aggressiveness here, and then I'm gonna get preventive maintenance to not lose the main turrets. This is what I would run on my USN heavy cruisers. Again, gonna be a little up to your playstyle for the defensive and or offensive. Onto the USN light cruisers. These are a relatively new line, and again, just like the IGN gunboat, they're going to need a certain captain build to really make them effective, and that is, of course, inertia fuse. So throughout this line, first 10 points, priority target, adrenaline rush. For here, I'm again going to pick up Superintendent. One of the things is, going through this, Superintendent doesn't really get a lot of value on this line till about tier 8. Tier 8 is when you start getting that radar. So if you want to grab BFT first, I don't think that's terrible. But getting a Superintendent is nice around tier 8 because that's when you get the extra radar. And then, of course, at tier 9, it gets a lot of value with the bonus of the heal. So maybe holding off on this. For me, I would just pick it up. It's just easy to get and then kind of move on. However, this is a little different outside of the IGN Destroyer line. As I said, concealment first, then inertia fuse. As soon as you can get your 10-point captain, you want to get inertia fuse. This is going to increase your damage to the next level, basically. So I think you can normally get a 10-point captain around tier 6, early tier 7. Get inertia fuse as fast as possible. You will get concealment later. It will happen, but you will get a lot more damage outdone, or doing a lot more damage, getting more XP to get your next level captain earlier. At 14 point, I would grab Concealment Expert. This is fantastic. You're a stealthy line. You want to be using that stealth to get into a position to then burn the world down with your fast firing shells. Picking up BFT is awesome. BFT is really, really good for your AA. You are a high AA build. Now, 2 more points. This is kind of an awkward line. You don't really need Expert Loader because you shoot so fast. Preventive Maintenance is nice, but then you have this weird awkward point. Where do you put it? One thing that I'd like to throw in every once in a while, especially if you look at this entire line, having 4 consumables, is Jack of all trades. It's not the worst thing in this world. You don't have enough points, in my opinion, outside of this to really switch some points around. So preventive maintenance is good as well, but you tend to not take a lot of damage in this because you tend to play a tad more of a campy play style. So Jack of all trades is probably what I would pick up. Getting the faster AA, getting the faster heal, getting the faster, especially radar on this line because it's a shorter range radar is fantastic, as long as hydro and all those other things. This is what I would run for the USN light cruisers. Again, some of the main things to do is grab inertia fuse as fast as possible, get that done, and then get concealment expert after. It seems a little weird, a little counterintuitive, but you will do so much more damage on this line with inertia fuse, and then you'll be able to get up through the line faster, as well as getting more XP to get to your 14-point captain. Onto USN destroyers. Again, outside of the normal captains, they won't really give you much of a buff here, but if you do obviously grab Halsey, you can get the Confederate and that double strike. Double strikes aren't the craziest things in destroyers if you kind of time your stuff right, but the other John Does, they aren't really going to give you any bonus for this line. Again, it's a destroyer line. It's going to be very copy pasta in a lot of these situations, but this is how I would fill 19 points on this line basically every time. There's maybe one thing you could switch up, and that's what I'll get to in a second. Priority target, basic for destroyer. I think every destroyer line needs this mandatory. I know I'll probably get something in the comments down below that priority target doesn't do anything. It does. It gives you so much information, how many targets are focusing you, how many targets you don't see that are focusing you. It's so good to have, and sometimes a lot of people don't shoot at destroyers, so you can actually sit there and just farm if you want to because nothing's focusing you. Gives you a lot of information. In my opinion, one of the most overpowered captain perks for especially 1 point. Last stand, mandatory. I don't care if you're this 2500 WTR. I'm hearing some builds that don't take last stand. I don't need last stand. Well, if you don't take last stand, you're just assuming that you are not going to play ever against a competent destroyer and you will get destroyed. Last stand for the normal player is mandatory. If you are not taking this, you are dead in the water. Superintendent, or survivability expert, sorry. I think this is just good to grab. More health as you go up through the line. USN will be using both their torps and their guns, and you will be getting 2 dogfights. So obviously you will be grabbing this, and then that'll help you go against. If you have survivability expert and the enemy destroyer, even if it's the same DD, does not have it, you instantly have a health advantage, and you will most likely win that gun battle. Obviously, concealment expert first. It's a destroyer line, so that's my first 10. Picking up radiolocation as this. You're going to see radiolocation basically on every build when it comes to me and this line or any destroyer line. radio location is so good, so much information, and letting you hunt down destroyers and making them cry, because you either hit them with blind torps or you can just kill them with guns, because you can hunt them down and they don't see you coming. Now this is basically, obviously, adrenaline rush is fantastic for 2 points. The last point is going to be this 3 points, and it's going to be up to your play style. And really, I only think it's between 2 things, either BFT or superintendent. I take superintendent. I tend to run with some division mates, so it's always nice to be able to smoke them up if you can. Extra smoke and extra AA is definitely nice, because I use these as much as I can to shoot down as many planes as possible. So it is nice. Although it's only giving you 2 extra charges, you can pick up BFT to help you out a little bit. Again, this is going to help you out with your guns too, so BFT is not terrible. If you're a bit more of a solo player, basic firing training will be fantastic for you. It'll help you against enemy DDs and get shooting faster. Torpedo reload, armament expertise, I just don't really see it with running the legendary mod on my gearing, so it reloads fast enough anyway. But you're going to be using a good mix. You don't really want to get too set on torpedoes. I just don't quite see it for this line being worth 3 points. Demo Expert 2, I just don't see it. You're going to be using both pretty evenly, and so I think you'd get more damage out of BFT than you would 2% fire. So this is the thing I could see you switching these up for. Either one is going to be a bit more of a team play, bit more of a solo player. So this is going to be your main switch. This is a very standard good build for anybody playing USN destroyers. We're moving on to the USN aircraft carriers. Now, as we move longer on into this video, again, the builds will get quicker because they're basically the same, and that's what this is. So, as we start with this line, you're going to see a lot of identical builds, and that's because they're just all pretty solid. Improved engine boost, I'm going to pick up first because I want that 10% engine boost time. It's fantastic to get in and out of that AA that is shredding your planes. Torpedo acceleration, fantastic for USN. A lot of those torps can be pretty slow, and you want to do as much damage as possible. Although improved engine is pretty nice, it's just extra speed, but I like the torps first. Again, picking up survivability expert. This is giving you that life per tier on your planes, and that's aircraft HP for each ship tier. So that's each plane too. So that's actually nice, makes it pretty dang beefy. After this, we're grabbing sight stabilization. You're gonna need this again if you are learning the lines. This is definitely gonna help you out. And definitely worth the 4 points, because there really aren't anything else, in my opinion, that's really worth 4 points. Coming back and picking up aircraft armor at 13. This is nice because it's going to make your planes even beefier and survive that AA by taking it down 10%. On top of that, you can get a tad more aggressive with Demo Expert. This is what I enjoy to use. Demo Expert is going to help you with getting you a higher chance for setting fires with those HE bombs. After that, picking up this squadron or improved engine, whatever you didn't take first, and then backfilling with whatever one you didn't take here, air supremacy and or an improved engine boost. This is something that I think is a pretty solid build. Again, I am not a meta pusher when it comes to the CVs. This is just something that I find to be very comfortable, and I think will be a solid build for everybody playing their aircraft carriers. Well, that is it for the USN captains and my recommended builds for each one of the lines. In the end, it will be 100% up to your playstyle. So off of my recommendations, you can maybe start a build and pick whatever you want, but moving the points around, as I said, to whatever you prefer and is part of your playstyle. I just hope this video was enlightening to you and helped you get the ups and downs, in my opinion, on some of the captain skills for each line of the US Navy. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.